Hey everyone, welcome to the Mixed Media Mania Fall 2018 YouTube Hop. We have a ton of amazing artists. We have a ton of amazing prizes. I mean a ton of prizes. So your odds of winning are really good. So all you have to do is subscribe and comment on each stop of the hop along the way to win. But we'll get more into the details later. First, let's get into this mini art journal page I'm making. So I'm first coating my paper, which is a handmade watercolor journal, and it's a mini journal, and it's about 5 by 4 inches roughly. And I'm just putting a little matte medium down and then putting some vintage math book text down on my page as well. And it's the paper's so brittle from being old that it just rips right off. And I really like that like tattered edge look rather than like a cut edge. And then I'm also going to coat my page with the matte medium just to protect it a little bit. And then I'm going to take some gesso with a palette knife, and I have a long skinny palette knife, and I'm just taking my palette knife and scraping it along the edges of my page. I'm holding my palette knife parallel to my page so that I get some nice long scrapes of gesso there, and it just helps tone things down, and I just really enjoy the way it looks. And it also helps add a little tooth to the page. I'm just going to go around my whole page until I'm happy with how much I have on there. And then once that's dry completely, I'm taking this damask stencil by Prima and some Ranger texture paste, and I'm going to apply a little bit to the upper right and lower left corners of my page. And I enjoy the Ranger texture paste pretty much only because it dries super quickly. And if you've ever tried to dry modeling paste with a heat tool, it gets a little funky. So it's nicer to let it air dry. Okay, so now I'm stamping this bird cage girl stamp by Viva Las Vegas Stamps. And I'm going to color her in with some Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. And then I also have some Arteza markers in there as well. If you're not interested in watching the coloring, which, you know, you can fast forward if you want to 4:43. I enjoy watching coloring. It's kind of relaxing. So, but if you don't want to watch it, you can skip. I won't be offended. So, I'm just going to lay down a little bit of color and then use... Okay, so first I'm going to lay down a darker color, like for example on her dress. I'm going to lay down a darker color, and then I'm going to go over that and kind of blend out the darker color with a lighter color. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing with a watercolor paintbrush that has some water on it to dilute the color. And really I'm just going to build up the intensity of color in layers, and I'm working by sections. I find that that's the easiest way for me to work with these markers in sections. And at this point, I chose some teal colors, and I didn't know what my background was going to look like. So, yeah, I'm going to change the dress color a little bit later on once I do the background colors. But, yeah, so I'm also going to add a little bit of brown to the bird cage and the bird. And this is when I come in with one of those Arteza markers. It's a nice gray color, which I don't have in the Zig. I don't know why. I feel like I should, right? Because I have the big set. I don't know. Maybe I lost it. But so I'm just going to blend that out, make the bird orange, and just build up the layers until I'm happy. And while I'm doing this, we can talk about how you can win one of the amazing prizes. So really all you have to do is check the description box below for the full details on how to win. But really all you have to do is go to every stop on the hop, and the complete list of channels is in the description box below. And all you have to do is comment on each channel, and in your comments say where you live, because some of the prizes are USA only, and then subscribe to every channel. Super easy. So, okay, back to our page. So I'm using some Viva Las Vegas stamps, background stamps to do a little background stamping. Oh, redundancy. Okay, so I'm just using a little bit of gray ink, and now I'm going to go in with some Treasure Island Aqua and some C'est La Vie Cherie. Is that how you say it? Lindy Stamp Gang. Oy. Yeah, so I'm just going to apply the color to my page and in layers again and dry each layer. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of distress oxide because it was a little green, so I wanted to add a little bit more blue, and then I was really enjoying the way the oxide looked, so I added a little bit of peacock feathers oxide. And I just squished that down on my craft mat, sprayed it with water, and then picked it up with my paintbrush to apply it. And then this brown color is the Treasure Island Aqua, and it is brown, but it has the most amazing aqua, like duochrome shimmer in it. So good. Love it so much. So at this point, I'm not really happy with the intensity of color along the edges. So, excuse me. So I'm bringing in a very, very dark blue to add to the edges as well. And I'm just adding more color and drying and adding more color and drying until I'm happy with the way it looks. Adding a little bit more of the Distress Oxide because I felt like it got a little washed out. And I'm trying to blend a little bit of that brown into the center because it was really catching on the texture paste. So I wanted to make sure that I blended it out a little bit with my paintbrush. And then some more of that blue, which also has a nice kind of aqua-y shimmer to it as well. Then I have some Finnabair Sparks acrylic paint, and I am just using my finger to apply that like on top of the texture paste. So I'm like running my finger parallel to the texture paste so that it catches, the paint catches, and it's a really nice shimmer. It adds a nice subtle shimmer. And this is when I put my image against the page and I realized that the teal of her dress was way bright compared to the intensity of color that I had on the background. So I thought I better tone it down a little bit because I didn't want it to like stand out. I want everything to look cohesive, you know? So I'm taking those same Lindy Stamp Gang sprays that I used in the background and just applying that right over top of my image to tone it down. And look, you can see the color matches so much better. And then I also took a piece of vellum and I ran it through my sewing machine. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I ran it through my sewing machine, and then I felt like my little girl needed something to sit on because she looked like she was like floating around in that little vellum circle. So I'm taking some Tim Holtz tissue tape and just ripping it and making some strips for her to sit on. And then I'm going to apply my girl with some glossy accents, which is a great glue if you want to stick stuff down to vellum. But you have to be careful not to add too much glue on top of vellum because if you're using like the cheap vellum, it can get a little like buckly, which nobody likes. Unless maybe you do, then I'm sorry, but I don't like it. So I'm adding my quote, which says, "I know why the caged bird sings" by Maya Angelou, and just adding a little strip of the glossy accents to apply that down. And then I felt like I needed something to fill up that little space there in the vellum, so I'm adding some Unwell Studio stars, which happens to be one of our sponsors, as well as Viva Las Vegas Stamps. So enter to get you some of these fantastic stars. They are so good. Some of my favorite finishing touches are these little stars. So I'm just going to add them in the vellum and then in the corners of my page. And then I'm going to add some splatters, which I really didn't need to do because, I don't know, the splatters kind of got a little lost. But at any rate. And then I'm taking some of this Finnabair wax, and it's like this blue, like dark blue color, and I'm just applying that over my stars and then a little teeny tiny bit around the edges of my texture paste. And that's it for my page. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you to our sponsors that are graciously giving away so many awesome prizes for this hop. And like I said, read the description box down below. You can see all of the rules, but really all you have to do is follow the hop. The channels are all listed in a row down below in the description box. Subscribe to every channel, comment on every channel, what country you live in, and there you go, you're entered. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for hopping along with us, and thank you to the other artists that participated in the hop as well. Some really amazing projects going on here. So thank you so much, guys. Talk to you soon, and good luck.